Hey, good evening, family. Welcome back. This is the No Picks podcast. This is Joe checking in.
What up? What up? What up? This is Ty.
What's good, man? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm having a little drink. I mean, got my little.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
let's get active. Let's get active.
Yeah. Let's get active.
Yeah.
Let's get active. So we're gonna play a clip. As usual, we're gonna let it rock out, and then we're gonna react to it. So I'm gonna let it play, and then we'll give you our feedback on this clip. All right, y'all. Here we go.
Okay, there's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you,
More
I talk
than
to young
five?
people
More
that
than,
talk about non-binary as
more than five?
I think the gender is not a binary is what I'm trying
But
to say.
are there more than five genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than five genders?
Well, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there are ways that we express our
there
gender
more
that
than
are
five
expansive.
genders? Are there more than five?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is
there
that
an
gender is a
infinite number?
reflection. Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that
All right, bro. I don't even have to see any more of that. Bruh. What's your initial thoughts, man, on this clip?
I mean, it's ridiculous because like you can't even get an answer to a extremely simple question. Okay, so from that senator's perspective, right? If there's 1,000 genders, then just say there's 1,000 genders. You know what I mean? Just say what it is. The fact that you can't say what it
Right.
is the ridiculous part to me.
Right.
Like things need to follow some kind of like logical sequence. I just thought that was just kind of like the way of the world, right? Like it's like, okay, 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4, right? Like that's like the logical sequence of things. And it's like,
Right.
okay, cool. That's what you're taught in school. And it's like, okay, cool. But for everything else, it's, kind of, hey, you know what? You mix this chemical with that chemical, you get this reaction, right? You add this number to that number, divide this number to that number, you get this reaction. But when you talk about gender within from now, from 2023 to like, I don't know, what's like maybe like 2018,
Yeah.
no one can answer the goddamn question, regardless of how learned they are, or how intelligent they are, how many degrees they have, or what administration they work for. Like nobody can answer. Hey, like how many? Like that should be very simple. If there are 30 genders, you should be able to say, hey, there are 30 genders.
There's not even a ballpark number. That's what's crazy because he's like, there's an infinite amount, and I guess it's kind of like this open-ended question where it's like, this shouldn't be an open-ended question though. Like, give me a ballpark, give me an estimate. Is it 5? You heard him. The boy was like, is it 5? Is it 10? Is it? I love his accent when he was asking the questions.
Yeah, right.
Now,
The southern exit. Yeah.
now, of course, with topics like this, I know we've discussed this before, and we're trying to kind of not tread we'll tread lightly. We don't want to be disrespectful, of course, but we
Yeah.
also know that when we talk about certain topics, some topics are so sensitive that you could immediately get flagged, right? So with that said, yes, I think we've reached a point now in society where things that should be straightforward, things that should
Right.
have simple answers, things that we've known for centuries, are now up for debate. And not by everybody, because there are definitely some people who are just like, no, I don't care what you tell me. Like, this is this and that is that. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to change.
I'm not. I'm not a political guy, right? This isn't a political, podcast, right? But
Yeah.
I've always kind of like, kind of erred on the side of what I would consider to be logic, right? And when I've always voted Democrat my entire life. Like I literally never voted Republican before in my entire life, right?
Yeah.
But when you ask a Democrat, hey, how many genders are there? And they say, I don't know. in my head, as a lifelong voting Democrat, it's like you immediately go into the non-serious category. Just from
Right.
that alone, it's just like what?
Right.
I'm trying to, like, you know what I mean, censor kind of what I say, you know what I mean.
I know, bro. I know.
But it's not. You can't be a serious individual. Things are this or they're that, or they could be in the middle. But everything can't just be like based off how someone feels inside.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that can't be. It can't be. Hey, you know what? Like, hey, there are two genders, but, like, you know, there are 6 billion people in the world. So if 6 billion people identify as something else, then there are 6 billion genders. Like,
That's and you see that some people genuinely believe that, because you have people on TikTok or different social media platforms talking about um my pronoun is they, or my pronoun is, I'm a cat, so if you refer to me, I'm a feline, so call me this or call me, and they basically could just pick their pronouns. Some people change their pronouns every other day, and I'm like, this is what these are, of course, extreme examples, but these are things that are already happening where
bro. You
people are
go on
kind of just.
Google, you'll see crazy terms, bro. Like, you know what? You'll see terms you never seen before. Let's not say crazy, right? Because that's a
Yeah,
subjective
yeah,
word.
yeah,
But
yeah.
let's just say bro. When I looked up the like kind of dictionary on you know gender I don't know what it's called, gender identifications, right?
Yeah.
I saw like two-spirit person. I'm like, what is that?
That's, some people identify like that.
That's a thing. Two-spirit. Go after this. Go on your phone. Google two-spirit person. It's a thing. Like, there are people out here in this world. It's probably like 7 of them. But like, there are people out here in this world that be like, yo, I'm not they. I'm not them. I'm not whatever. I'm not whatever. I'm a
Mhm.
two-spirit person. What does that even mean? But you got these politicians going on these, having these conversations. They can't even answer a simple question. The man is like, hey, how many genders are there? She can't even say. She's like,
Right,
well, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable saying, because, I don't know. I don't identify as all those things. So it's like,
right,
the things that we've known to be true since the days that we've been living in a cave, and hiding from lions and stuff in the shelter, or saber-toothed tigers or whatever,
yeah,
are now only a biologist can answer.
right,
Right? They're like,
right,
because that Supreme Court nominee was like, hey, I mean, I can't answer what's a male or female. Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a biologist.
right,
So only like a scientist can answer what's a male and a female, or a two-spirit person, or whatever. And that's
right.
absolute nonsense. Like,
It's
it's like,
it's yeah, it's scary for me to think about. So I've had this conversation with my wife a while back, but I was just like, how do you feel about these parents who have kids, and say, well, I'm not going to attribute any gender to my kid. I'm just going to be gender neutral. I'm not going to assign any gender. I'm just going to let them express themselves however they want, and then see what happens. You know what I mean? Kind of just let them raise with, so basically not calling their child, let's say they have a boy, a he. Just, referring to the child as something else, but not just referring to him as a he or a boy, just no gender at all. You know what I mean? Like, just letting them kind of figure that out. And I'm like, how do you feel about that? Do you think that's good parenting? Do you think that's bad parenting? But, like, as parents, isn't it our role to teach our kids how to function in society, how not to be socially awkward, how to kind of, and I don't know, for me, it just seems so dangerous, because part of parenting is instilling certain values in your child. And something as simple in my mind, that is as simple as gender, to not attribute a gender to your child and then raise that child without addressing him as he or she.
right,
I feel like it's so confusing for a kid, even before, like, that kid is like 5 or 6, when their brain is still developing and forming. And this is some of the things that this is why I worry about this whole thing about all these genders, because I'm like, you have parents out there who believe these things, who are then passing this on to their kids and making their kids, like, just doing all types of, I would say damage. I say
right.
that, carefully, respectfully, but I just, like, at what point, as a parent, I don't know, bro. Like, how do you feel about people who raise their kids without a gender? Like, do you think
I
that's
think
responsible? Do you you know what I mean? Like,
I think it's a very first world problem.
yeah,
I think, like, that's probably the highest first world problem you can ever get, right? Because if it goes down, if we go to war with China tomorrow, all these two spirit angels and other beings and all that stuff, if they get hit in the draft, if they were born female and they get hit in the draft, like, oh, okay, cool, you're not female no more, cool, you can get drafted. I promise you, bro, I promise you, every single one of those two spirit beings or earthworms or whatever they want to refer to themselves as will be like, oh, no, 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 we not trying to go out there and fight. Let the men go fight.
Yeah.
I promise you, bro, that's a first world problem. You think if all these like people that want to identify as whatever they feel like identifying, if they were in Afghanistan, they will be doing that? They got protection of the U.S. government, bro. They got protection of Western governments, whether it's in England or whatever. They got the protection of a big, uniform entity that's like, okay, cool, we got you protected no matter what. You take that away,
right?
None of these people are talking about this. None of these people are just trying to survive. They're like, okay, cool, I am a girl. Let me go find a man so I won't get punched up in the street and taken into someone's cave.
Right.
It's first world stuff, bro. Like, it's just like, it's problems that people have when they don't have more pressing problems to deal with.
When they're comfortable, when your society's civilized and developed and you're not actively in war, or at least not you, because we could be in war. We were in war in Afghanistan for like 15, 20 years and people would just forget every day. And it's like, yeah, just because you're not in the battlefield doesn't mean you're not in war. But no, it's a first world issue. And I completely agree with you. It's funny because at a certain point in my life, I remember thinking, when I saw the way that society was going, I was like, yo, maybe we just have too much freedom. And I would never, and listen, I'm not endorsing that sentiment. I'm not saying that's exactly how I feel, but there are some times when I just feel like we have so much freedom and so many privileges that there are just some people who don't know how to act with all this freedom. And so you get people with numerous genders. You get people who are, out there being hella promiscuous and doing all types of crazy stuff. You got people running rampant and going wild. You got a society that's becoming hypersexualized. You got, you give people freedom and it's like they don't know how to act. They're like little children. They're like little kids with all this freedom. And it makes me think of them as kids because as kids, we have to be parents. We have to have what they call parental authoritarianism. You know what I mean? Like parental authority. Like, I am your parent, so I'm going to enforce authority on you. I'm going to tell you what you can and cannot do because you are a child and you need to know the boundaries and you need to know, like, I just feel like sometimes grown people are just like little kids where it's like the more freedom they have with no one telling them don't do that, don't do this, they just go wild, bro. They go wild. They go crazy. And then some of us look back like, see, this is why we can't have all this freedom because some people don't know how to freaking act, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
You think they think about this in Yemen? You think it's a problem that they have in Afghanistan right now? You think they worry about this in Syria? You think they worry about this in, let's say, I don't know, Botswana in Africa? You think they worry about this in China? Do you think they have these? Oh, and China's I'm not saying China's like a backward kind of situation. It's like China has a modern economy, but like they got gender roles. Like, you can't just, like, you got to pass their physical requirements in order to join their military. You can't just join the military. You can't just be like, okay, well, I'm a woman. I want to be in the Chinese military. Like, they're not having that.
Right.
You mean like? But it's just. I mean, listen, we can go on about this forever, but like you said, people got too much freedom. They got nothing else. They're not like, men have died for this. You mean like?
Yeah.
The U.S. we built ourselves into like such a powerhouse country that like our females or whatevers can have these kind of concerns.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but like, listen, let us know what y'all think. We're running up on that limit that we're trying to keep it to right now. But I don't know. Let me know what you think. Like, we can, you can finish it up.
No, let's open it up to the audience. What do you guys think about these judicial hearings, these Senate hearings about what is a woman? How many genders are there? Have you guys been following them? How do you guys feel about our sentiments that we shared today? Let us know what you think about the concept of like having too much freedom. It's a controversial statement, but like, do you think we've got so much freedom that we just don't know how to control it? We're not responsible enough to have that much. So all those thoughts, Let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, please share if possible. You can donate to the Cash App and the Venmo is there. We always love
You insist,
donations.
if
You
you
know what I
insist.
mean? We'll take that too. But until next time, Ty, I'm checking out. This is Joe, No Picks Podcast.
All right, man. Thanks for watching, y'all.